Lately, I've been thinking about how much of the self development space is focused on becoming better, more positive, more healed, more uplifting. We're taught to stay in the light, to say the affirmations, to keep moving forward, even when something inside us doesn't quite believe it. But what if growth isn't about becoming lighter? What if it's about becoming whole? In today's episode, we're talking about the part of the journey we don't often share, the darkness, the unraveling, and the quiet, uncomfortable in between, and why it might be the most important part of all. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soft Power Project. We have a very exciting guest, and this is her second time, the Wild Medeina. Hi.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's an honor.
We had such a great time last time, and today we're really celebrating your brand new project. You are a self published author. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't believe I can say that I'm self-published author. It just feels surreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an accomplishment. Must have taken so much work, and especially you're talking about something that is so real, so raw, so authentic. So the book title, it's called The Yin and Yang Within: Journey to Inner Balance. And I wanted to start asking you this question because that's what I loved about when you're introducing your book on Amazon. You said that this is not a book about becoming light. It is a book about becoming whole. And I really loved about that concept because I think the more we grow, the more we become more authentic to ourselves. It's really not about just seeking for the positivity or, finding the little joy. It's about carrying both sides and finding that balance. So tell us a little bit about why becoming whole is such an important thing for you right now in your life.
Oh, I love this question. I feel like we're diving straight into this whole concept of the book and the why and just the everything. So, first of all, also before we dive into this interview as well, I want to mention that I've co-written the book with Ebonnie Shreve. So she's not here with us at the minute, but I want to acknowledge her because she was self-published author before we started. She wrote her fiction book a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And yeah, so I was walking this path with her, and it was the most amazing path to walk with someone who's already a self-published author. So, Ebony, hi, when you're watching this, I couldn't have done this without you. So, wanted to say this before we dive in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so the becoming whole part. So basically, the reason this book was born is actually quite by accident because both of us met on Instagram and both of us were just talking about, what we could co-create together and like what's been happening in our lives. And both of us felt that both of us were going through hard times at the time and that we just felt like we're just trying to shed old skins and trying to grow and trying to kind of, I don't know, reinvent ourselves, but like from a deep spiritual level. And then we were like, we're just trying to become, I don't know how it became a topic, but we just said that we're just trying to become whole, like whole for ourselves and like just having that soul fulfillment from within. And this is kind of how the book became a book because we were talking about how when we go through the dark times and they're so hard and difficult and excruciating, but they make us whole. Like as cheesy as it sounds, like I know it sounds so cheesy, but it's that this is the journey. Like this is the journey where we shed the skins, where we just completely shed everything that we've been taught or told. We're becoming this whole person within us. And this is the book that's all about, like how to be in that darkness, how to be in that weird phase where like we half shed it, but we haven't shed it, but we don't know who we are. And it's like, how can you alchemize that, the middle part? So I hope this makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love, and you mentioned that a little bit, I love how you really honor the darkness in this book and the shadow and the messy in between. because I think that is often not mentioned on social media, not mentioned, in the wellness path because it's so messy and it's hard to talk about it. But I think this book itself, it shows that you and the other author, you guys really honor this entire process. And I wanted to ask you if there was a time in your life that you realized lightness alone isn't enough.
That's a good question. That is a good question. Yes, yes. Let me backtrack. So I was always reading self-help books and I was always looking all those videos about self-improvement like my whole life. And I feel like, as you mentioned, they were all about the light. They were all about, how to achieve the goals, how to just be something, how to achieve, how to grow, but none of them was saying it's like, to achieve certain things that you want, you will have to be in this darkness. And this happened a couple of years ago now when I was in my 9 to 5, because I was reading all these books, I was watching all the videos, I was doing all the things that they was telling me to do, right? Because I liked it. I was really passionate about the self-improvement world. And then I thought that it's all of it is just stuff. But I was actually so depressed, so miserable, so dry, so depleted. And I thought, well, how are we supposed to go like forwards? And I remember reading a book. In the book there was a chapter about the goddess Kali and how she's the goddess of destruction and how we need the darkness to then actually grow and how we need the darkness to then just keep finding ourselves and keep finding the soul purpose. And I remember reading this piece of this book in a spa and I was like, this is it. Like I need something to come down in my life now where I will go through this awakening. Little did I know that a couple of months later down the line, everything will start crumbling down. So when I was in that deep crumbling down, I realized that this what will make me strong. And again, as cheesy as it sounds, this what will make me strong. And this, like, from all these hard times, I will learn who am I, what are my values, who are my friends that are standing with me, and how can I grow from there? Because again, if we believe that we have the mission here on this earth, then we believe that, again, like I personally believe that we have the soul and we have the soul purpose and a soul mission. And you're not gonna find the soul mission when you're like in the light all the time, not even thinking about the darkness. Like you're not gonna find it there.
I love how you really uncover that shame that a lot of us cannot admit to ourselves. A lot of times, yeah, we wake up in darkness. We just don't want to admit it. We want it to be the person who reads affirmation, I am abundant. I am
Yeah.
attracting opportunities, all of that. But sometimes it is really hard. Like for me personally, sometimes it's just hard for me
Yeah.
to say these words and actually believe in these words because I am in the darkness. And without honoring the darkness, you cannot move past that. You cannot force your way out of it. You cannot fake it till you make it. Like, I really hate when people say that word.
Yes, I do like a little growl as well. Like, no.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so I feel like I love how you really honor that darkness and I love how you use this word. I know you use this word quite a lot in the book, the descent.
Yes.
And I'm really curious because I haven't really heard too much about this word. I mean, I know the word, I know the definition, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about the concept of it. But you use this word quite a lot and descent into the darkness. And so tell us about how this word come about, like how that becomes part of your vocabulary, and what is it about this word or concept that you think it's really important for women to understand?
So I mean, I didn't even realize that I was using it that often, but I think because like we have different, lifestyles, vocabulary is different, obviously, then you've noticed it because I haven't noticed it. But I think the reason for me why I'm using it a lot, it's quite simple actually. It's because when I was in the darkness, right? When I was in that depleted, dark, depressed state, questioning life, questioning everything, I immersed myself in a lot of courses, workshops, books that talk about all of these things like divine femininity and the death and the rebirth and like all of these things. And in there, quite a lot of authors or, people who are hosting these workshops or courses, they were actually talking about this, that like sometimes we have to descend into the darkness, descend into the underworld, and kind of lick our wounds. And because I was immersing myself in that kind of world, it just really stuck with me because I started to think like this is actually what it is. You're just descending to shed, to kind of become one with the soil, right? Decay in a way. And then you can go up from there because there's no other way than just to go up after that. And it just became part of my vocabulary.
That is so beautiful the way you describe that, how we become part of the earth. We decompose and become part of the earth, and then we are able to rise again. And can you tell me a little bit about what it feels like to be part of that earth and to allow yourself just to fall apart, completely break apart? Because I think a lot of people, when we're like just stepping into pivoting or life transformation, maybe to tell them to go into darkness, that sounds a bit scary. But I think once we move past that fear of uncertainty, it may feel different for people. So, like, what was it like for you to be in that darkness and truly embrace that?
I mean, my whole body went into shivers when you asked that question. Well, I'm not gonna pretend that it was nice. I'm not gonna pretend that it was rainbows and butterflies and pink fluffy skies. It wasn't. It was really bad. It was awful. It was so much tears, so much crying, so much you just your whole body just feels like you've been buried alive. Like it sounds dramatic, but it is. Like I don't want to listen to anyone say that like, oh, having a spiritual awakening is beautiful and it's fulfilling. And it is down the line. It is. Like when we look back, it is. Like now I'm looking back on a couple of years back when I was at my lowest point, when I was crying on the floor in my 9 to 5 job. Now I can see that it was for the better. It was for the so much better. But when you're in it, you're in it. There's just nothing there. And yeah, it's hard. And I feel like the biggest kind of lesson that I want to share with everyone is that once you're in it, just accept that you're in it and actually like say to yourself that, okay, I'm in a phase of life now or in a season of life where it's hard and I'm struggling and it's not easy. But if you believe in higher energies in the universe and God, whichever thing that you believe in, just keep asking for, the signs or the advice that will come from within. And then it will be like day by day, it will get better and better. And like, again, it sounds cheesy, I know. But what was helping me when I was in there, I was thinking that it can't get any worse than that. Like, I'm already at the rock bottom. And like, it's just like, come on, like, I never imagined that I'll be crying in a 9 to 5 jobs, like office floor. Like, I never thought that. But, I did that.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. So I feel like basically what I'm trying to say is just acknowledge the fact that you are in the darkness and every person will need different nourishment. So for some people, they want to be left alone because they want to lick their own wounds and they want to meditate and just be with this heaviness. Some people want to start,
Mhm.
they want to like rip the bandage completely and start, travel the world or start a different job or different relationship. So whichever feels aligned to you, choose that. And this will be a way through the darkness. So yeah, acknowledging and then finding what you've been called to do. This would be my advice.
And I think, like you said, everyone has a different way to cope with that. And there is really no right way or
Yeah.
wrong way to do this, right? I think many years ago when I first really starting these, being part of this wellness or self-help, self-development, I wouldn't say, yeah, kind of like industry. I thought there was really the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things, but nowadays I'm just like, you know what? Just pick whatever that flows with you at the moment. And I wanted to ask you this because you kind of mentioned that, and you did mention that in the introduction of the book on Amazon. You wanted to make sure that this book becomes something that is real and authentic. So it's not part of that spiritual bypass, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of healing culture right now, but let's talk about, in your perspective, what are the things that people are avoiding when they're choosing the spiritual bypass?
So I think this is where like our book that we wrote will be beneficial because my part is very like poetic version of the descent, like very like when I was writing it, I didn't want to write like a textbook thing of like this is what you feel, this is what you should do, and I wanted to sound I wanted it to sound more poetic and much more like not I'm just thinking what's the word? I wanted to say the word whimsical, but like in a dark feminine way. And like very priestess like, it's like initiation. And Ebony's part is very much like psychological, philosophical textbook part of the shadow. And this is why our book is so different and so unique because mine is like saying something without saying anything, but also making you think and feel. And it's kind of like poetic, kind of feminine. And hers is like, okay, you feel this. This is the exercise, how to do it. Let's do it together. I'm holding your hand while doing it. So when people will read the book, right, I'm hoping that they will feel that duality of both of us holding. So it's like, hopefully, if the person is more aligned with my writing, but they will be like, oh, this is a nice complementary writing of like, okay, I've been through the poetic side of the descent. How can I tackle it now? So hopefully they will find the exercises how to not do this whole spiritual bypassing, but okay, you know, I'm feeling this. What can I do today about this? And vice versa. If they feel like my poetic writing is not their cup of tea, which is fine, then when they get to Ebony's part, they're like, oh, actually, I know that this could be my toolbox. I can go through it and see which tools or which exercises I can do to make sure that I'm hitting all the spots now in my healing journey. So I think this is kind of my answer to your question. It's like hopefully it's the blend of it. And like we did, and funnily enough as well, we didn't actually agree on writing this way. We just agreed that we're gonna write the book. We're gonna have 5 chapters each, and that's it. And then we met up, is it a month later or something, and we were like, oh, I wrote this. Oh, and I wrote this. Oh, that works. So it's just kind of like, you know,
It just come together, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like you mentioned, I think when you're describing how it works in the book, it's almost like it actually mirrors the title of the book, the yin and the
Yeah.
yang, because you have both part and really in a very well balanced way. So, I mean, I'm very curious, is there any particular part of the book that you would like to point out to the readers now who's listening, or anyone who's like interested in listening, when they're kind of going through this like dark path and they don't really know what to do and they just need that inspiration to uplift them or to just guide them? Is there any part or any way that you would recommend them to read your book?
So I would say, I mean, reading the whole book because this way they will get like a whole essence of what we're trying to say. Like I can't really pinpoint one point or the other point or one chapter versus the other chapter because they're all interconnected. But I would like to read the poem that I wrote in the book, if that's okay with you,
Mm,
because
Yeah, absolutely.
I was I was just like preparing for our talk, and I was thinking like, what is the message that wants to come through today for this interview, for this podcast episode? And I was thinking that I didn't really want to read anything too heavy today because as we're recording, the fire energies are just crazy. Um, but I was thinking about the poem, and I was thinking that the poem is just like it's a little bit lighter, but also it holds the depth of everything.
Hmm. Please go ahead. I'm excited.
So the poem is called Invocation of the Wild Woman. Step into the circle, sister of shadow and flame. Hear the heartbeat of the earth calling your name. You are the dust and the fire, soil and the sky. A moonlight tide, a wolf's fierce cry. Rise, priestess, from the ashes of yesterday. Let the dark guide you. Let the light obey. Your shadow is sacred. Your rage is a song. Every crack in your heart has made you strong. Gather your bones, your voice, your tears. Lay down your masks, your doubt, your fears. You are the threshold, the doorway, the gate, the keeper of cycles, the sculptor of fate. I bless your eyes to see both dusk and dawn, your hands to shape what has been torn, your breath to call the stars to dance, your body, your temple, your soul, your trance. Walk as a goddess, a priestess, wild and free. The ancestors whisper, this is who you are meant to be. Claim your throne in the rhythm of the night and day. For you are whole, you are fire, and you are the wild woman, always. So that's the poem. And yeah, I just had goosebumps reading it.
That's so beautiful. I love how you said that every crack of the heart, was that the word? Crack of the heart. It's that's how it makes you strong.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so beautiful. I mean, do you remember the moment that you wrote this?
No, I remember just being in my bed writing it, and I remember that the words were just flowing through. Like for my part of the book, I remember it was just flowing through, and like actually the editing and the formatting process took longer than the actually creating of the book.
I know. I mean, it sounds like writing this book, it's a way to heal part of you as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. As I had the meeting with Ebony on, was it Monday? I remember she actually just sent me the screenshot of the one part of our book. She was like, "This is what we're learning now this week." So we were just laughing that we wrote this book for ourselves as well.
I can definitely see that. And I think that is one thing about women in general. The way we heal, it's just so incredibly beautiful because we heal by to share, to connect,
Yeah,
right? Just like a lot of the women like you yourself and you have beautiful stories and but you guys you walk through fire. You had been through tough times and dark times, but you wanted to share. You wanted to connect and wanted to tell other women that you're not alone. You can do this as well. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, but we can walk this path together, even though it's hard. And I think that's what makes women just absolutely incredible.
yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Because this is the thing, like once we start sharing our story, then other women have the courage to share their story. And actually funny that you bring this up because at the end of my part in the book, I was actually like after we finished the editing process and everything, I had this like moment of like, oh, I need to add this into the book, and I was talking about this fire ritual that I've done. But in there, I was writing that when we actually start healing and when we start to alchemize our pain into power, we start to alchemize all of our like learnings into something beautiful. We actually inspire other women to do the same, and this is the beauty of it. Like, this is the beauty of the dark times, because once we start healing, then we can inspire other women how to heal. And that's a beautiful way to live.
And I'm really curious because I'm looking at the cover of your book and I'm wondering, do you assigned if you're the yin or Ebony's the yang, like, do you guys assigned the side that you represent in the story?
No, 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 we didn't. We just both felt that we kind of very similar, but at the same time we're very different because we come from different parts of the world. Like she lives in America. I'm originally from Lithuania, but live in the UK. We have different, upbringing, different stories, different, just there's so many parts of us are different, but at the same time so similar. So we were just saying that like it's always interchanging. Like we're always one thing after another, and it's just like, yeah, we never actually thought who's on the cover.
Because I'm like, well, you really look like the left side. I can see you in that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know. Just because I have blonde hair, maybe I'm that one. But I also feel like sometimes I'm really channeling the darkness of me and just like dark warrior in me. So I don't really know. We haven't thought about it, so maybe I need to talk with Ebony about this.
Because I think it's just such a beautiful collaboration. And if you don't mind, because, obviously you both collaborate in a way that you both offered very different things. And, one is very poetic and the other is very practical. But you mentioned that it wasn't, structured that way. It just so happened that you kind of both of your work come together in that way beautifully. I mean, how has the writing process for you, how has it been? And to work with a woman that you both are going through hard times, but individually, but collectively, you're putting things together. Yeah. What's that process like?
Obviously, the process is very good, very good. It's very the word that keeps coming through my head is compassion. I feel like both of us are very compassionate to each other, and honestly, the writing process and the creating process was really good for the soul. I feel like the magic happens when women work together. The magic happens when women don't compare ourselves to each other, and like we don't try to, have a cat fight. The beauty comes when we actually create together and support each other in the darkness. So for me personally, the creative process became beautiful. And we were actually talking about this when we had our meetings, that it became the friendship as well. Like we started as like two souls meeting online, like randomly, let's write a book. And then we formed this friendship now. We're actually talk quite often and we share, what's happening with our lives. And we're still talking about like how we need to preach what we practice what we preach in this book. But the writing process itself was really, I would say it was the smoothest part of the project because we agreed on the topic. And because we were like going through that or had history of going through dark times, the writing part actually was quite fast and quick and just easy because we just
Hmm.
started writing and we just started writing. Like I remember, so like I wrote most of the book in my bed actually. And I remember just being like, oh my God, like I need to type faster and faster because like I just have so many things to say and it has to come out. So I think it was just the right thing at the right time. And that's why it came out the way it came out. And then as well, like the original release date was supposed to be December 11th. And we were supposed to launch it just before Christmas. But I was going through stuff. She was going through stuff. And we said, look, we know that the book is good, but it's just really not the right time now. And we postponed it and we published in April. And again, it's like that beauty of it because we wrote the book, but we also were still in the darkness and we just gave ourselves time and the grace to be in the darkness so that then it did come out. And now it feels much better. So the whole process was just magical.
I love to highlight that because you mentioned that there was a lot of compassion. There's a lot of
A
love
lot of
in
passion.
this collaboration, right? Yeah. And like you said, we definitely had experience the girl, the cat fight, the competitive side
Yes.
of female friendship. I think recently I've started to really unpack that and understand maybe why that was the case before. But when you just describe how you both just allowed gracefulness, self compassion in the process, and you're not forcing things to come out. You're not, let's say, oh, this is a deadline. We have to push it out. None of you guys were forcing that to happen. You just kind of collectively decided that it needs to come out when it needs to come out. And I mean, has this friendship been very different for you in the past, let's say in your corporate job before? Because it definitely sounds like absolute dream to me. I had some different experience before. Yeah.
100%. It's the people that I meet now online through my business, right? Through empowering women, through midwifing their
Yeah.
rebirth experience. It's like day and night. The relationships that we form, the friendships that we form. There's so much compassion, there's so much heart that comes into all of these things because I feel like we're just there to support each other, not rip each other apart. And that's the beauty of it because I didn't have that in 9 to 5. And so many women didn't have that. So when they start creating their own businesses of, inspiring women or empowering women or helping women, I feel like 99% probably those friendships become really the core of compassion and love and understanding.
Hmm.
And it's just beautiful. Because if we were going to push ourselves to put this book out in December, we would have just reached more and more burnout because both of us like going through different initiations, challenges, and it just felt wrong. And we wanted to feel really good about when the book is coming out. It's a big achievement, like it's a big thing. So we wanted to
Hmm.
make sure it feels good rather than, oh, I'm so tired and like I feel so battered and bruised, but I just want the book out. Like, no, it just had to be right.
Hmm. And is this a very different decision for you? I mean, if you were in the 9 to 5 job, would this been the decision that you would have made? Kind of going with the flow and going with
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Tell me
Absolutely
about
not.
that.
Absolutely not. I'm sure I would have been pushing and pushing and pushing and then probably would have been like crying all the time. Like, no, it would have been I can't even imagine actually trying to do this in a different setting. I don't think it would have just flowed. Or if it would have flown, I think it would just be very over masculine, harsh approach to all of it. I think this would be the case then, rather than offering the compassion and the poetic side of it. I feel like it would be very, very different. Like I never actually thought about it. Like you made me question things now.
Because I do think this is such a beautiful approach. It makes me also trying to reflect back in my life because I think even till now, I mean, I try to shed, I try to decondition, rewired, but a lot of times I still kind of go back to that, productivity is king, that kind of
Yeah.
mentality, because it's just so deeply ingrained inside of me. So I think for you and Ebony to like both reach that agreement to just allow self-compassion for both for each other, that just that just absolutely the most beautiful thing, the most feminine collection collaboration I could ever imagine.
Oh, that's beautiful for you to say that. Yeah, yeah. I think it is. And it's just like it flows from the heart. And now like you're making me think now about back in 9 to 5 because like I was working in academia and I was trying to write papers in academic language. And I wanted to because I was thinking, oh, it would be so cool to write scientific papers and, show all the knowledge. But I remember I tried writing it and then you need to like write in a whole different language, but then no one understands it. And I remember like I had some help to like make it sound right. And I was like, that's not even me. Like if I'm writing the scientific article, how it's not I would never speak like this. So I feel like there's a lot of different like it's just very different writing compared to like, writing a self-help book or like soul development book rather than writing as from my experience in academia. And it was not me. I remember when I was writing that one article, I was just like, it's just not me. And now when I'm literally written a book, like I can call myself a self-published author, it feels exciting. It feels fulfilling. It feels like this is my words. Like it's my words. Like no one actually came and censored them or changed them or said it, oh, they're wrong. Like, it just feels very good, very like soul awakening.
And I have to say that is oh, that's such a beautiful thing to feel. And you created this beautiful work. This is a piece of art. It speaks to the soul. And I was very lucky that I went online and I read a little bit. And I felt like you said, it's very authentic and true to the heart and very poetic. And it's so soft, but very deep at the same time. Did you celebrate it when you published a book when it came out?
Funnily enough, actually, not really.
Why
Actually,
not?
I don't know. It was just like life. I don't know. And funnily enough, the day when we launched the book, I actually like, we posted all the things that the book is live. And then what I ended up doing was going to do some gardening with my partner because we agreed on. And it was just like such a normal day. And it was so fulfilling. So it was just like, oh, yeah, I'm an author. But like at the same time, I was like doing my normal everyday life things. Like we were doing the gardening with like we're cutting down some trees and like just making the garden look prettier and more everything. And it's just, yeah, it was the day. And like, of course, like my partner was congratulating me on that. And like me and Ebony were like chatting to each other, like congratulating each other for like, this is it and everything. But
Mhm.
it also felt like another ordinary day, weirdly enough.
I understand that. I can definitely see that. I think maybe you will celebrate it in a way that you never imagined when the time is right. Maybe right now it is kind of just very ordinary to you, but
Yeah.
just listening to you speak and talking about the friendship that you created, just how much you knew about yourself, I think that that itself it's really worth celebrating, and I think that's something that every single reader can feel from your words.
Yeah, I hope because there was a lot of love and soul poured into the book. So I really hope that the readers feel what we felt writing it. Like it just felt really soul fulfilling. That's the only word I can think of.
And I remember, we spoke probably not a year ago, but quite a while ago, right?
Yeah,
Definitely
quite a
in
while ago.
2025. That's really you then and you now. Now that you're a self-published author, how do you feel? Like where you are at in this point in your life compared to last year?
I don't think I'm the same person. I feel like again, I feel like I went through so many shedding of the old skin and shedding of the conditioning and the like little nagging things in my head, of like what I should be and what I should not be and how I should be. And now I'm like, I'm just embodying what feels true to me. And if people don't align with that, then that's fine. Like, I don't know, in one way, also, I feel like I'm quite content with where I am. Not saying that I'm never going to change, I will. But I'm saying that, like, I feel like I stopped questioning myself so much. And that's a very good place to be. But again, I had to go through hard times to get here.
But again, like you said, you do have to step into darkness and embrace that. But with that, you learned valuable lessons. And I'm very curious. How would you define soft power at this point in your life?
Oh, that's a very good question now. I think soft power now would be just being in your element, being in your essence of whatever that feels for you, and being like and like radiating that outside. Like I'm just imagining myself as the sun, and like the sun shining through. It's like you being the beacon of that whatever you're channeling. So it's like you're soft
Yeah.
and you're powerful, but you're also helping other people to see their soft power, and like you kind of igniting them as well to see their soft power. So like this is the way I'm seeing the world now.
That is a very, very beautiful. And I would just, yeah, wondering if you have any particular message that you wanted to share with the readers, because I'm going to leave the link to the book in the show notes below. Any messages for them?
So I would obviously encourage readers, listeners to buy the book, to get the book, and when they read the book, just message me or Ebony. I mean, they will have all the links behind the video. But yeah, so if when you read the book, just let us know what you thought and what it stirred up in you. Because writing the book, I'm assuming most of authors, like this is my assumption that probably authors they write for themselves, but they also want to see and hear how it touched other people's lives. So we just really want the feedback, the good, the bad in between, of how it touched them or which parts didn't resonate with them and which parts did, and just having the side community of, you know, just what were you thinking, what was going through your head. So yeah, I just encourage listeners to get the book. And then very excitingly as well, we started working on the workbook to go with the book. It technically should come out in August, like plus or minus around August time. We're still not sure about the timeline. But yeah, the book is all about going much deeper into everything that the book was talking about. So I'm just excited. I'm just excited.
Wow, that's going to be a really good pairing, right? Because you mentioned again, there's going to be a lot of tools that you could adopt from the book if you're going through this certain dark period of time. Yeah, I can definitely imagine that could be like a really nice pairing that you can kind of go back and forth.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And then, yeah, just for the listeners, for the readers, I just want people to hear and to listen that the dark times do suck, but please like hang in there because it will get better. Okay. Like it will get better. There will be some sunshine in the dark times. Just hang in there. Do whatever you think that you can to survive the dark times, and it will get better. That's what I really want to say.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, in the very beginning when we were just chatting before we record, we both mentioned that we feel some heavy energies these
Yeah.
days. And I actually have one final question for you. Now that you have done this book and you really allowed yourself to really explore and be in a dark place, is darkness scary for you at all? Or, let's say right now it is fiery energy, it's a lot going on, heavy, heavy energy going on. Does it scare you to get there, to go down, to descend to the darkness just to learn the lessons for now?
It is definitely, definitely. I don't personally, I don't believe that if we descended once, we will be okay about it. Like we will be like very chill about it. I don't think we will. Of course I'm scared. Of course I'm scared. And I'm going through, even though I went through massive descent and dark times a couple of years back, I'm still going through some dark times right now. And I'm having to find trust and surrender and softness every day to do it. But I am scared because it's the unknown. It's like if I'm gonna shed all these identities that I had, who am I then? So you have to trust yourself, and you have to trust yourself over and over again. And of course I'm scared. And as a bit of a control freak from my previous conditioning, it's scary.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being so honest and so raw, because I think a lot of the listeners really need to understand that the healing journey is not linear. Hey, we're we're in this together. but there's gonna take there are many layers we have to really get through, and sometimes, yeah, we're just gonna have to be in there again and again, and also go deeper a little bit, and then go lighter a little bit, and then go deeper. So I think it's really encouraging to know that we're all on the same path. And thank you. Thank you for being so authentic and real and always speaks the truth about healing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone listening. And just, yeah, thank you for this opportunity to talk about the precious book. Thank you, thank you, thank you.